Great. Yeah. Hey everyone, welcome back to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm your host Avik, and as always, I am here to guide you on a journey towards a healthier, more balanced, and deeply fulfilling life. Today, we have a truly incredible guest whose story is bound to leave you inspired and introspective. So, get ready to dive into a conversation about resilience, healing, and the pursuit of the inner peace. Joining us today is the phenomenon Margie Allman. So, welcome to the show, Margie.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Lovely, lovely. So, Margie, like before we start our conversation, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all of our listeners. Dear listeners, Margie is the author of the powerful memoir, The Sufferfest: How Sex, Drugs, and Triathlon Saved Life. So, Margie's life story is nothing sort of extraordinary, a tale of surviving unimaginable trauma, battling addiction, and finding redemption through the fitness, mindfulness, and personal growth. So, her journey from surviving institutionalized child abuse and devastating losses to becoming an Ironman trial uh, uh, triathlete and the Pilates instructor is the ultimate testament to the human spirit. And and I did I mention that Margie is a living proof that it's never too late to rewrite your own story? Yes. So at 60 years young, she's thriving and creating a life that she is genuinely loves. So, if you're ready to explore what it takes to overcome life's toughest obstacles and build a healthier mind, body, and the soul, then stay tuned. This episode is going to be unforgettable. So, welcome to the show, Maji.
Thank you.
Lovely, lovely. So, Margie, like
This
your
is
book. Yeah, you're saying something, yes.
this is my first podcast, so I'm kind of
Oh,
nervous, but I'm so happy to be here.
mm. Oh, okay. No issue. Yeah, we'll discuss about it because we'll discuss about the book. First, I'll start with your book. Um, your book, The Sufferfest, is an incredibly raw and honest account of your journey. So, The Sufferfest, why did you choose that title? I mean, what does it mean to you?
The Sufferfest is, I think it started in cycling. It's just a term of literally suffering physically and enjoying it because that's all you're doing is suffering, knowing you're going to finish this goal that you set that is pure torture. And so I applied it to life
Mm,
because I hate to say this, many parts of my life have been kind of a sufferfest. And by that I mean you're trudging through and you know there'll be something on the other side. But that's what I've learned in life is if I just keep going, even if I can't see what's on the other side, I know there'll be something there. And exercise taught me that just by sheer your body wants to quit and you tell it to keep going. And that's really the lesson I learned when I was in straight at that's where the institutionalized child abuse from the time I was 16 to 18, after they sat on me and I thought I was going to die, they put me in solitary. And I just started exercising the whole time because I didn't have a clock. I didn't know how long I'd be there. And I just kept going because I knew eventually something would change. It would be different. It couldn't stay the same forever. Um, and so, but it didn't end there. You know, after that, I had no life skills. I got out into the world at 18 and I had never had to function on my own. My parents dropped me off at the airport because they weren't happy with me. And the world was a blank. I had no idea what I was going to do. Fortunately, let me say that had a very loving, supportive family. So while they made some choices that I wouldn't make for me, um, they never left my side through my life. They kept telling me I was worthwhile. I keep trying. And that's what I did. And a lot of it was through exercise. Like when I found triathlon, let me go back. Pilates came, I had a bad cocaine habit in my late 20s, and I that led to toxic shock syndrome. I blame the daily drug use for ending up almost dead. And when I got out of the hospital, the first job I got was at a Pilates studio. And I was in Los Angeles. And so it was what I met this group of incredibly supportive women who didn't seem to care where I'd been. And they were going to nurture me and teach me Pilates, which is a very self nurturing method of exercise. And then once I learned it myself, I realized I had something to offer other people, which I had never believed in my life. I had always believed that I was just a loser. And then after that, I broke up with my boyfriend, and that's when I discovered triathlon because I knew without this person to take up space, I could easily end up back in drugs. And I didn't know how not to do that unless I had a goal. And since I'd always been physically into exercising, just as a mental kind of cure all, I decided to set my sights on triathlon. And that's how it started. Instead of going towards this addiction of drugs, I developed an addiction to exercise, if you will. And that can sound really bad. I know there's over exercising, there's using it for the wrong reasons. But for me, it kept me going. I needed a goal that was going to be nothing but positive. And to me, there was nothing negative about that.
Understood. Understood. So, uh, like you survived such extreme circumstances, and from institutionalized abuse to addiction and even toxic shock syndrome. What was the turning point for you when you realized that you wanted to fight for a better life?
It was after toxic shock. I was so close to death. My blood pressure was like 30 over 50,
Oh.
and I was in an induced coma, and they said my family should be there. That's how bad the prognosis was. So my mom was able to come out. And when I got out of the hospital, I could barely walk to the end of the block. And because I had already always been a runner, I started running when I was 12. I loved swimming as a child, playing in the ocean, and then I found the pool when we moved to the city.
Huh.
I knew that was who I was. I was not to be defeated. I knew I was hardy and I knew I had it in me. I didn't know where, a lot of times with trauma, with horrible things that happen to us, and it seems like there's nowhere to go. I must be doomed to suffer. But I knew that wasn't me. And my mom was mad. She wasn't mad at me, but she was like, do what you have to do to get better. And so I did. And um I'm grateful for the community I met through Pilates. Like I said, these supportive women, a lot of people have paths, and they leave them behind successfully. Mine, I kept wearing it on my sleeve. I couldn't
Hmm.
shake it, but Pilates helped me see myself in a new light that yes, I did have a purpose. And so then the triathlon was kind of like that. Like if I felt tortured inside by doing physical hard work, it took the torture into physical and out
Hmm.
of my psyche so much.
Mhm.
Um, and by going the long distances, like to Ironman, it proved that I had what it took to achieve a huge goal that I didn't think I could accomplish.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain how my psyche transcended through the physical work. It was kind of proving to myself, oh, if I say I want to do this and I got there, I was willing to suffer if I could get there because it felt so good. I don't know if that
Mm.
answers your question.
No, definitely, yeah, yeah. And also, in your book, you write about the importance of being comfortable in your own skin. So, for you, what does that mean? I mean, how did you get there?
So I was born kind of a flailing, anxious, overreactive, not emotionally regulated kid. And it
Mm,
was hard for me to absorb any tools I was supposed to learn.
mm,
So that's what led me down a downward spiral because I could not be comfortable. So I found drugs as a way to ease that. But then I didn't want to die. I was never suicidal or um, I just didn't have a clue where I was going. And then after straight, I hated myself even more because that's kind of the message they send is that you're a bad kid and it's really perseverance and resilience to keep going. So I
sure.
didn't have peace with myself in my late teens, early 20s, even in my 30s. I met a guy that it worked. We fell in love and maybe not the best relationship, but that gave me somebody that I believed loved me. Um, but I still wasn't happy with myself. And that was my highest goal. It was not to be in a relationship, to get married. I never wanted to have kids. Um, I just wanted peace with myself. And it really came probably through the perseverance of not giving up, just trying. Like I would get messages, oh, Pilates, you can do this well. Or other things I might do well. I was good at running. I was good. So those were outside things that were good. And somehow just I think part of it too is getting old enough. Sometimes being young is just such a difficult time, and that can last different lengths of time for all of us. I just when I turned 50 and that guy died and I moved back to be with my family, that's where my real transformation started, I think. I went back to be with my parents who were nearing the end of their lives, and I didn't want to be there, but I needed to be there for them. So being there for them taught me what kind of person I am, and it gave me yet another kind of like another chapter of good. Okay, good. I got this much good. All this is bad, but all that bad started to get farther and farther behind, and that's when I found this personal work. It's called To Be Magnetic, that I didn't think I could ever get past straight, the place that was the institutionalized child abuse. I didn't think I could get past prostitution. I had these labels on myself that I couldn't get rid of. And this work that I found helped me really reprogram a lot of
Mm,
those internal messages. And I feel like that was key because it got down to the root of my psyche on the emotional level. It wasn't positive thinking. It wasn't, oh, if you change your thoughts. That didn't work for me because I had too many other thoughts beating the good ones down. And so I had to go inside and see myself and learn to treat myself gentler and to say, I love you and we're going to do this. And I didn't plan on finding peace. It was just
mm.
my ultimate goal was I just want to be at peace with myself. And I really feel like hanging on into an older age is how I got there.
Got it, got it. And so your experiences with straight incorporation are truly haunting, and the podcast, The Sunshine Place, has brought more attention to it. So, how has sharing your story with the world impacted your own healing process?
Huge. I hired a book coach to help me finish that book because I didn't know where it ended because I didn't yet believe that I had overcome all this horrible stuff. And then, so once I figured out where that book was going and my life took a turn after I lost my parents, I took up scuba diving. I found a place down in the Caribbean and restarted without any of the people that I had, I felt like my parents telling me, we love you, keep going. That was really significant. But once they were gone, it was just up to me. And so I was able, I don't know if I'm answering your question,
Please,
but
please.
the the trauma of straight I went inside myself and got to where I believed I didn't deserve it. Because for years I just believed I was that bad. So it was really a deep reprogramming of how I saw myself, and
Mhm.
that my story has a purpose. Um, and there's a reason I came out on the other side, because today life is beautiful and I can't believe I'm here. And it was
Yeah,
really through that internal work.
understood, understood. And so like if you could go back and talk to your younger Margie, then the one who had I mean who was struggling to find hope, what would you tell her?
That's a great question. Having the
Yeah.
tools I have now, I would go back and I would say, stop. Let's
Yeah.
regroup where I would have her teach her to reprogram all these negative thoughts. I had such low self-esteem, and nobody from the outside was able to change that for me. I had to do it from the inside. And when I
Mhm.
was, I thought I was unemployable. That's why I ended up with prostitution. I just saw no good. So if I could go back and show that girl that there was good and all those layers of bad, that would be phenomenal. I just when I ponder that question, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I could have persuaded her to believe that before she had, wore it out herself.
Hmm. Wow, lovely. Great. So, Margie, thank you so much for sharing your story, your wisdom, and your heart with us today. Your journey is definitely a testament to the resilience and the power of never giving up. And I'm sure, like, our listeners are walking away with not just inspiration, but the practical tools to help them navigate their own paths. So, dear listeners, if today's conversation has sparked something in you, then take action, whether it's reaching out to for help, lacing up your sneakers for a run, or simply reminding yourself that you are worth the effort. So, together we can build healthier minds, healthier lives, and a better world. So, until next time, this is your host Avik reminding you to stay curious, stay compassionate, and stay committed to your growth. So, thank you